Hello, welcome to Go Grab That Day podcast. Today we have a super special guest on, which I'm really happy to have on, is Mr. Ben Davis. He is a professional MMA fighter and coach out of Galway in Ireland, where I am from. A really cool guy. He's one of the people from the beginning when I started doing this, I always wanted to have on. Great fighter, great coach. I had the pleasure of training under him back in Galway, but he is currently head coach of a lot of champions, a lot of great fighters back home in Galway. A real special guy, super positive guy, always sharing positive vibes and things like that, the kind of things we need during times like this. But yeah, an absolute gent. It was a real pleasure talking to him, and I hope everyone enjoys the podcast. It's short and sweet, but it's very good. The content is really good, and it was, again, an absolute pleasure to talk to him. So give him a shout out if any of you guys come across his social media or anything like that, and keep an eye out. The Shaolin MMA guys in Galway are doing some big things when all of this COVID calms down. A lot of them have big fights coming up, so check them out and hope you enjoy it. Mr. Davis, listen, how are you keeping, brother? All good?
Yeah, man, really good. Yeah, well, as good as can be in the current climate,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
happy out, I'm a bit of a recluse anyway, so I live out in the country, and I'm still going in training some of the lads, so
That's good. That's
that have
good. Well,
fights.
you, you,
So yeah.
it's guys like you we need through times like this. You're a positive guy, like, so we need you to stay
Yeah,
positive, or the rest of us are fucked.
yeah, man. Yeah. That's why I live out in the country. That's why I live in the country, because
Yeah,
it's like my recharge.
oh, you're right, man. That's the way it is. I'm living in a big city in Auckland here now, and man, I'm here a few months. I'm sick of it already. It's too crazy, too
I
much, too everything.
Yeah,
It's just a
I'd say so,
constant.
man. Yeah, especially in times like this as well, because I find whenever I go into the cities to train the lads, I find there's just I don't know, like a depression in the air, everywhere. Like it's
Yeah,
really sad. Just you get a bad energy off of people, not aggressive, just it's like the whole world is in a state of depression,
it's just the way it is at the moment. Yeah, everything is kind
Yeah,
of, and anything small is so much bigger than what it used to be. Little things that people
yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah,
irritated by. It's just, unfortunately,
yeah,
as you said, it's just the times we're living in. But like I said,
yeah,
we need guys like you keeping people sane in some way.
yeah,
Even if I don't know
yeah.
how, I don't even know how much you're able to keep people sane, because they still have all the gyms closed, don't they?
Yeah, well, I'm like, you can't lock me down, man,
That's what I
So
like
I'm
to hear.
traveling here, there, and everywhere, and I'm just if anybody, like, we've had a lot of people depressed and stuff, people want to meet up, I always reach out to them online, and then
Yeah,
I'll meet up with them and I'll train with them. I'll do something just to, because after the first lockdown, so many people, man, like, Galway in Ireland yourself, for suicide and
yeah,
stuff has always been pretty bad. And every day, every week, you're seeing helicopters looking over the Claddagh and all that. It's just,
yeah.
it's
We
it's beyond a joke now,
we
So
have we have like a like a family group, like a WhatsApp group where
yeah,
we talk to each other over and back. And I mean, every day
yeah,
that's all I'm hearing is this person's
yeah,
cousin, this person's friend, and the only thing you can do is,
yeah,
it's horrible to say, but you just got to pray it's someone you don't know too close, because
yeah, yeah.
it's an
But
everyday
it's
occurrence.
people. It's Galway is a small city, and
That's it.
if you don't know them well, you still know them. You know,
Exactly. And that's the thing. I
and
know, I'm not going to name names, but I do know friends of mine
yeah,
who are affected, and it's horrible,
yeah,
because, and as well,
yeah,
we're not on a lockdown over here anymore, but yet you're looking at
yeah,
the rest of the world, everyone's on lockdown, and it's just like, it's hard to even fathom this. If you saw it on a movie, you'd be like, it's just a
yeah,
movie,
yeah,
you wouldn't believe it's going to happen, but
yeah.
just hoping things are going to change. I'm out here like saving for flights. I'm ready to go home, but we can't leave. We
Yeah,
can't do
I'd
anything.
wait for a little while.
That's what everybody's saying. Yeah, hold off. But it's,
But
yeah,
if you do come home, there'll be some training with me, man. I'll come out and train with you.
my man. So I like to hear.
I seen you had an MMA fight as well in the
I
Women to
did
Warrior. Yeah,
my
man.
first one, and unfortunately, it's going to be my last for a while. Anyway, I'm back struggling with a disc injury, so it's
Oh,
just,
okay.
it's not necessarily an injury. I had a surgery before, so I'm just having to.
Yeah,
I'm having a lot of shoulder issues and neck issues, and you can tell better than anyone that wrestling and jiu-jitsu is not something you can do when you have a neck issue. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
yeah,
still able to hit some pads and stuff like that, but
yeah. But that's
until
the thing. Just you have to do something. You have to keep moving,
yeah,
man.
that's
Like the
it.
human body is made up of water, and water likes to move. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. No, look, I'm happy to hit some pads. I have such an itch to get back in there. So
Yeah, man.
I can understand why you guys do it now. I mean, the
Some
nerves,
buzz.
it's just
Yeah,
insane. I've had people ask me, friends of mine, like, how do you explain it? And I can't for the life of me. Can't
yeah,
explain like what the feeling is. I say to them literally, if you could bottle it, I'd be addicted
yeah,
100%. The feeling of as you know better than anybody, but
yeah,
I was terrified looking for any way out of it, but
yeah,
I wouldn't step out of it either way. Like, it was just an
yeah.
amazing buzz. And
It's the it can it the knowledge of what it gives you. You can take into anywhere.
yeah,
It's like basically what you're learning in martial arts is survival, and like you can't survive if you can't control yourself. So as you say, you want to get out of there. You're there warming up before the fight. You're looking at the fire exit doors, thinking nobody would realize if I
yeah,
just
yeah.
jumped out there. You
And
know?
that went
But
through my mind too. It went through my mind. I was
yeah,
like, man, could I just leave? And I was like, it's just the thought of looking at yourself in the morning. I suppose you're kind of like, I can't
yeah.
walk away.
But
Like.
as I say, like when if you can, you can't, so you can't. If you can control yourself, you can do anything.
Yeah,
You know, and that's the main thing. Like really, like yeah, you can take it anywhere. You can take it into a job interview with you. Like as I say, fighting is survival. You
yeah,
know, and you often see in fights that people lose the battle within themselves. But that's like we
absolutely.
all do that. But that's another learning curve that we have to kind of go through. Not just like, oh, he beat me with this skill.
Yeah,
You have to kind of also look at the internal information that was going on at the time, how you were
yeah.
reacting to certain circumstances around you, or
That's it.
So yeah,
I have my older brother out here who has fought Muay Thai for years, and it was good to have
yeah, yeah. I know, great
his
fighter.
input. But the guy I was fighting, he was the last person I wanted to fight. Real an absolute gent. He was one of my friends throughout the
Yeah,
whole thing, but
yeah,
a beast on the ground. And I'm not a ground fighter. I need a lot more years to pick it up. And as the last
yeah,
I knew, if he got me on the ground, and I said it to my brother, I said, listen, chances of me winning this fight are just it's massive. I said, but I'm going to go in there, I'm going to have a crack, and we'll see how it goes.
yeah,
And he beat me exactly how I knew he beat me. But it was the fact that I went in
yeah.
there knowing I'm going to
You did it, yeah, man.
lose. But it was a great buzz. And look, the people that I met through Wim, I actually have Richie Cranny from Winter Warrior. He's coming on the podcast next week.
Okay,
And
wicked.
he's doing amazing stuff because some of the people I met through it from all walks of life are friends now that I will have for life, and all different guys who
Yeah,
came from gangs and they're trying to clean up their lives. Other people who are suit and tie
yeah,
type and just wanted to have a crack.
yeah,
These amazing people.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like you were saying, what the sport does for people is it's unbelievable, and it's infuriating to see that they're still trying to
yeah.
close and stuff like that. But you're one of the biggest people who's on the opposing side of it. Like I've seen a lot of your posts online, and I suppose that's what I was kind of going to bring up to you today is how are you guys finding trying to train
With what?
trying to train through all this COVID stuff?
It is hard. Like to be honest with you, the thing that saddens me is that fair enough, we have like on Clan Wars now is the only show really that's running around Ireland, and we have like four pro fighters on the card and one high level amateur, Carl McConway fighting.
Yes.
And so we have a lot of our elite fighters are training, and we're training in like living rooms of houses and garages, like so we're training here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like after the first lockdown, I I seen so many people depressed. We had a young student who passed, and from a drug overdose. And I just seen how negatively the first lockdown affected everybody. And so I basically halfway through the first lockdown, I was like, I'm getting the gang together and I'm training. We met up in
Yeah.
Mervey Park because we had no gym to train in, because obviously we can't have people opening their gym and being liable,
Yeah.
you know. So we just met up in public and we just started training out on the football pitch in rain even. But
Yeah.
it was such a positive effect on everyone it had. And then after we reopened after the first lockdown, we were allowed to go back teaching. Um, like everybody was just so buzzing. And then when we heard tell of the next lockdown happening, I just said to them, look, guys, after the first lockdown, I'm not locking myself down. I need to take care of my own personal health and well-being, and that is by training, doing the things I love, and staying fit and healthy.
Yeah.
And if any of you want to carry on training, obviously you have to take care of your family members. If you have anyone that might be at risk for this, then you have to make a informed decision with regard to that. But I said, look, I'll be training. If you want to train with me, I'm here for you. And so as I said, I've kept in contact with a lot of people and I've kept trying to train. But it's just, as I say, most of the people that are training is the elite fighters. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are missing out that they can't make it to our trainings, or there's not enough space for them, or it's just everything closed down. It's just really hard for everybody. And I don't want to neglect. I don't want to just be. I'm not there. You know what Shaolin's about. It's a
Yeah.
family, and it's about everyone being equal.
Yeah.
The person who is a higher level helping the person at the lower level to get up to that level.
Yeah,
And it's
and that's what I've always said in speaking. I've had the pleasure of training with,
yeah,
Eugene Behrman was one of the biggest coaches out here in the world at
yeah,
the moment. And I've always said, even to friends of mine, I said, yourself and Eugene are very
yeah,
alike in the sense of,
yeah,
you walk into the gym and whether you're someone who's been there on your first day or you're one of your
yeah,
main fighters, you're treated the exact same. You're made
yeah.
feel so welcome, and it's good. And look, I just hope that you guys eventually get going again. I actually just remembered as well. You guys had a big fucking fire in your gym too.
Yeah, we did. Was it
Yeah,
2018, 2019?
that was just
2019 it was. Yeah, 2019.
yeah. I
I
had
think it
just
was
left the country. That's right. I forgot about that. So you guys have had a
September,
rough.
October.
Oh
Yeah. It's kind of been a bit of a savior, to be honest with you. At the time, it was the worst day of my life,
yeah,
It was so stressful. But again, the family kind of that we have, the community, just everybody, even people that, all around Ireland, MMA clubs supported us, and they raised money for us for GoFundMe. We were meant to be moving into the gym, but then the lockdown and all happened. So we found a premises, and but yeah, it was kind of lucky that we didn't sign the lease before the
yeah,
lockdown happened, because then a lot of gyms have gone under, a lot of businesses all around the country are gone, So it was a saving grace in that way for us.
hmm
But I'm still at this moment in time, I'm trying to sort out all the legal stuff and get this lease signed and then start building. Problem is we're locked down, so trying to get builders and things to go and build the gym is a problem. But we are gonna do it
yeah.
regardless of the world situation. As I say, we have to train on grass pitches and garages or
Yeah.
whatever. We do it.
Well, the
You know?
important thing is Shaolin MMA isn't going anywhere. That's what people want to hear. So
Yeah. No, no way, man. It's a movement. It's not a
that's what
club.
I
It's a
like to hear.
movement.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah. Nah, it is. It's difficult. It's just tough for everybody. But we need. I'm trying to stress it so much to people out here, how lucky we are to be able to train, to be able to go to whether it's MMA, whether it's whatever you do, because I see it from you. I see it from other guys who are PTs back home, and
Mm.
they're trying to find some sort of avenue where they can train people, and the doors are just getting closed everywhere. And they need to do better. The government needs to do
Yeah.
a lot better. It's just not fair that they're killing people. That's the truth. They're really
Yeah.
slowly killing people, and
Yeah.
we had it out here for, I think it was a full just over 2 months altogether, really, the
Yeah.
lockdown, and that was hard on people. But thankfully,
Yeah.
it was one lockdown, start to finish. That was it. Whereas the way
Yeah.
it's done in Ireland, from 2 weeks to 3 weeks, then to a month, it's just people can't help.
Yeah.
Like nobody is
And
able.
the thing about it as well is everybody's situations is different. So it's all well and good me living out in the country saying, oh, I'm a bit of a recluse. As I say, I like to come, I need to live here to recharge myself to do what I do. But it's nice. I can send my kids out and just play wild, free. But if you live in an inner city housing estate, maybe like, and this is a lot of kids that we work with as well, and like you have your disadvantage, you have problems in your family. There may be nine in your family. You're basically being raised by your brothers and sisters, like, and you don't have the outlets that the services
Yeah.
with like youth workers or activities and stuff, the gyms,
Mm.
and yeah, like we have to think about people that don't have the the privileges that we have,
Yeah.
like I come from a disadvantaged um environment, and thankfully my mum when I was young moved us to Ireland and got us out of the city, like, in the ghetto where I came from. So it's and I can look back and I can see a lot of my friends are dead or in prison or
Yeah.
severe drug addicts and stuff like that. Imagine your family are drug addicts,
Yeah.
and you're locked down with them. There's nothing for you. There's no school. There's no martial arts club. There's not that
Exactly.
light of a person that just sees you and gives you the light that you're not
Yeah.
getting somewhere else. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And we can't, like, I understand we have to take care of the elderly people, any people that are at risk to this thing. But we do know it's a very low percentage of people that are actually at risk and dying of this.
Yeah.
And we can see, I have seen, you said you can see the effects worldwide of people.
Yeah.
It's like the Great Depression you're
Yeah.
seeing, and I've personally seen people that they didn't die of COVID, they died because of depression, drugs, and things like this. And yeah, something has to change. We have to, like, we know, looking at you can look at psychological effects of people that have been incarcerated in prison and stuff like this. You know the effects of locking people up and isolating them,
Yeah.
and fear. I know so many people. I know growing up in a rough neighborhood, fear was all you knew. That's why you learned to fight,
Yeah.
because you don't know who that person could stab you, shoot you, or this person in prison at the cell next on the same flipping cell block as you could
Yeah.
shank you or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's living in fear lowers people's vibration. And as you say, we've we've got to open back up, man. We've got
Yeah.
to protect the people that are at risk, but we have to protect the whole population.
Exactly. I
Taking
mean,
taking away services is
it's
a
good,
no-no.
like you said, it is good protecting the elderly people, but not if you wipe
Yeah,
out the generation before them. That's not
yeah,
going to do any
yeah,
good. But it is, yeah,
yeah,
it's horrible to see, and I don't like to even speak about where I am now because we're doing okay, and I don't like to talk about it
yeah,
because of the way the rest of the world is. But it is,
yeah,
it's hard to look back and see, see the way things are back home, and not just back home in England, in
yeah.
a lot of other parts of Europe as well. And it's just the only good news I suppose I've heard is the vaccine is starting to spread its way around a little bit. So
Yeah,
hopefully to speed that up. And
yeah.
but like you said,
Well, I heard there's two other. I like haven't looked into it too much actually. A friend of mine who's a doctor actually just sent me. There's another drug that's available. It's not even a vaccine. So if the people that are anti-vax or whatever don't want to take vaccines, then there is actually, from what my doctor friend has told me, that there is there's two other drugs I think that are available.
yeah.
So hopefully that's good news as well. Like,
And there is like again, I'm not going to be on the side of vaccine or anti-vaccine. I don't know
yeah,
enough about it. I'm not smart enough about it. I
mm,
just want whatever we got to do to get back to normal. Let's do it. But there is like
yeah,
the bits I have heard. You can just take up your doses of vitamins as well. That helps you too if you don't want
yeah.
to take any medication. I know there's a lot of people against it, but look, let's just get these fucking
That's the
gyms up
thing as
and
well. They're
running.
not, there's only bad news. There
Yeah,
needs to be good news, like stay fit and healthy. Do like take lots of vitamin D, eat lots of vegetables, green veg
yeah.
for your iron, and like it's yeah,
That's
like
and
it
that's the
is.
other thing. Like Irish people are known for having quite a laid back attitude, and what you see
Yeah,
just everything on the news. And like I said, even from my family, everything is bad news. And I feel,
yeah,
listen, stop. Like, it's enough on TV. Start,
Yeah,
start sending me some fucking stupid videos of your kids falling over. So,
yeah,
you know, we need to,
yeah, yeah,
because you need to start spreading some good news amongst yourselves as well, because that's what happens is the news
yeah.
just drills all of this negativity into your head.
I
And
was training lads in Ballyban the other day, and it's funny, lads and lasses actually. There was because as I say, we're training in the living room in Ballyban, one of the locations, and Sadie Carey, my one of my wife's students,
I know, I know,
you know
Sadie,
Sadie, like,
she's a
yeah,
big,
and she was there training. I've been trying to get her training for ages. She came there yesterday and she was training. And after we're training, we looked out the living room window and she was like, there's my cousins over there, or my uncle or whatever, like, and they were just, it was snowing. It had
yeah,
just snowed really bad the last 2 days in Ireland, like, and it was snowing and they were all like outside in the snow, like just playing as a family, like.
yeah,
And it was just, this is some of the magical things though from this lockdown. You know, we're doing more things as a family. So there is good things to take from this, like
yeah.
about how we were living too fast, working too hard, chasing paper for nothing, you know?
Exactly, man. Exactly. And that's
So
myself and my girlfriend who's from Brazil. So we
yeah,
very, very different background. But the two of us have decided in the last few months that, like, I'm working scaffolding out here, that I have years of work here if I want it. But we both decided
yeah,
that we're going to travel. We're going to
yeah,
travel. We're going to try and get back home eventually and go and see some of the world, because
yeah, man.
it teaches you a lot, man, about fucking about what you can lose. You know, the kind of simple
Yeah.
rights you think you have, and just to train.
Teaches you a lot about yourself, you know,
Teach
teaches
you
you
a
a lot
lot
about
about
yourself.
yourself, man. Exactly. You
Yeah,
just start to appreciate little things. I mean, even this podcast, I would have never in a
yeah,
million years saw myself getting on a camera and talking to people. But it's just
yeah.
you start to
You're
realize.
good at it. You're very good at it.
I like to talk, Ben. I like to talk sometimes. No, but if you give me a topic like, MMA or things like that, man, I could
Yeah.
talk all day.
But you can walk the walk. You made the walk. So yeah,
I
you're
made
allowed
the
to
walk.
talk.
I'd like to make
You're
it
not
a little better next
you're not
time,
one
but
of
we'll
them fake
see.
UFC fans now, McGregor fans, you know that.
Oh no, definitely not, man. Definitely not. People like to pull me on it, right? But no, definitely not. No,
Yeah, man.
I love the sport. I could listen. The thing is that, like, we get it on a Sunday out here early on a Sunday. It's perfect timing to watch it on TV. And my girlfriend said to me one day, she said, "Listen, because every day, like, we'd sit there and we watch the fights, and I'm just talking. I'm not even talking to anybody, but I'm just talking about the fights." And she says
Yeah.
to me, she says, "Listen, you talk about it every. Why don't you just get on a camera and see how it goes?" I said, "I suppose I could try." And as soon as I started, then I haven't shut up since. So I'm a few podcasts in and a couple of guests lined up, including yourself. So it's a lot of fun. But
Yeah, man.
it does. It definitely teaches you just to kind of better yourself, I suppose. And I mean, I'm halfway
Yeah.
through a personal training course as well. So it's just
Yeah.
just to try and, as you said, better yourself. And
Yeah.
hopefully when things open up, we can do. I hope to eventually do something like you're doing. I can make
Yeah.
money elsewhere, but I'd love to be able to help people who are struggling with, whether it's drugs or whatever it may be, man. Just offer
Follow
them,
your interests, man. Like
yeah.
that's what you're doing at the moment. You're following your interests.
And
You know,
that's
that's and if your interest then can inspire other people, you know, and then
yeah,
you can, as you say, you can help them through that,
yeah, that's
you
it. And
know?
it's just that's what we all need to do. I'm saying it to a lot of people, about like it's. I know again, it's easy for me to say out here with everything opened up, but it just does make you realize when you're looking at the way things are on different sides of the world. Like, just if
Yeah.
you're locked down, find a way to busy your mind. If you have to work out in your living room like you guys are doing, do it
Yeah.
for the time being. But
Yeah.
don't allow yourself to be cooped up and allow your mind to take over, because it's super fucking powerful if you do.
Yeah.
And it's gotten the better of a
And
lot
and
of
that's
people.
what martial arts is about, as I say, mastering yourself,
Yeah,
you know? And that's like I said to you at the start there, you can't lock me down, you know?
yeah, yeah,
And you could physically lock me up, but you won't lock me up. You can't lock up this,
yeah,
and this. And that's like, as I say, you can take the knowledge from martial arts and from fighting, competing, because life is a fight, like,
yeah,
and like that, like all these governments and things like that, they will force their will on you, but they can't take away, as was it William Wallace said, you can take our lives, but you can't take our freedom.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So,
absolutely, man. Have you
yeah,
ever
man.
have you ever considered a podcast yourself? No.
I think we might do one in the gym. I think the lads and all were they want to do one. So I've like not specifically about MMA, but we just talk everything, you
Yeah.
know, talk
Well, that's the thing you
conspiracy,
find.
talk
I
anything. Yeah,
there's a mate of mine who I worked with out here. He's actually moved back to Ireland since, but he's a mad boxing fan. Now I
yeah,
myself, I'm a super casual when it comes to boxing. I could
yeah,
talk the ears off you about MMA and hit you with all the facts. Boxing, I haven't got
yeah.
a clue. But I brought him
Oh, I
on.
love boxing.
Yeah, but I got him to come on, and I said we bounce.
Yeah,
Some of our IB MMA, he'd be boxing. We did not
yeah,
talk. We must have spent more time talking about everything else bar the sport. That's just what
yeah,
happens when you get a camera and
yeah,
a mic in front of you. You just want to talk. But that's the fun of the
yeah.
podcast. But definitely, man, you'll be
Oh,
excellent.
I do love boxing. I think I came from boxing originally, and I remember my old coach, Damon Taggart, and he literally, because when I started at this club, Ederney Boxing Club in County Fermanagh, a little tiny village with a famous little boxing club there. And when I joined there, Tyrone Monaghan, who was the coach, had just moved to Belfast to work.
Yeah,
So they had no coach at the time. And Damon was the caretaker of the club, big avid boxing fan. His sons all boxed there. And so he was just minding the place, letting the guys still go in. And, he knew a bit about boxing, but he wasn't a coach, and so he was there when I first started boxing. But he seen I was like athletic. I hadn't the skill, but I knew how to fight,
yeah,
because I grew up in a rough place. So I kind of I went in there, I was swinging the big hooks, like every spar was a fight, like. And he says, you remind me of Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer, the way I fought. And so he gave me a video of Nigel Benn, and cool. It was called The Dark Destroyer, and I watched it. It was the highlights of his first 20 fights or something, and I was like, yeah, I like this guy, like the middleweight Mike Tyson,
yeah,
and then like I had a good few boxing matches and stuff, and I got beat by the good boxers. They were the guys that beat me. If I didn't knock them out, they just keep me on the
yeah,
end of a jab, moving, and I get tired and just trying to, for me, fighting was, kill or be killed. That was how I
yeah,
learned to fight. And so yeah, then I like after that he gave me more videos, gave me videos of Muhammad Ali and other great boxers, that could jab more, Sugar Ray
yeah,
Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, and then I really started, like, my mom, I remember, bought me like a boxing manual, like all the history of boxing, and I had like learning difficulties. I couldn't read and write until I was a teenager, and I like read this book, and like a big encyclopedia of boxing, and yeah, like I fell in love with
yeah,
boxing, and I kind of fell out of love with boxing because of kind of politics within Irish amateur boxing. I feel like
yeah,
bit of racism, and I like a lot of racism. Every time I fought was like the Great White Hope versus the Black Fighter.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and it was like I'd have to literally knock people out to win, and um, I so I left. That's why I went into MMA. I kind of left because of personal. I was young, and it wasn't just that. It was me being young and stupid, and
yeah.
I was partying and doing other stupid stuff,
As we've all
and
done, yeah.
yeah, so I kind of left because of that, and I moved back to England. And as a young man, I wanted to get back into boxing. I was training with a guy who fought Chris Eubanks and Nigel Benn and Michael Watson, the great, and Collins actually.
Hmm.
So he fought all the good middleweights of his era, and I was gonna go pro with him. And but then I found MMA. I started sparring with MMA fighters, and was watching. I was already watching Pride FC and stuff on like these illegal
Yeah,
downloaded discs and stuff, and I was like, I just got out grappled, as you say. You know yourself what it's like when you first go in and train with a load of MMA
oh man,
fighters.
it's like drowning
And
in
yeah,
water.
yeah. So that happened to me, and I was like, do you know what? This stuff. I'm as I say, like I started. I think we all do martial arts because of our fear. It's like overcoming our fear, and I think that was my biggest thing. As I grew up in environments that I didn't feel safe, and so I had this constant battle with fear. I used to have nightmares of fighting giants, and I couldn't get near them. And they just, every time I try and hit them, they'd hit me because they were just so big, or they grab me,
Yeah.
and you know, and that was my next step on my journey of overcoming my fear. And that was MMA. I seen the grappling and the wrestling. I was thinking, yeah, this can help me out of those situations where a big guy grabs me or something like that, you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, I started training. That kind of helped me get on the right path again.
Yeah. It sounds almost similar. One of the funniest stories I'd ever heard was the style bender Israel Adesanya had said when
Yeah,
he was a great kickboxer, and he said
yeah,
he started to look at MMA. He didn't like the idea of somebody out there being able to beat him somehow.
yeah,
Like he said he couldn't sit with it, so he had to get into MMA to be the best at that too. You know, because
yeah,
he knew that he could beat anybody at kickboxing, but if you come up against
yeah,
your solid
yeah,
fucking Dagestani wrestler, or someone who's got a bit of
yeah, yeah,
he didn't like that idea. So it's the hunger
yeah,
for too. But what's cool about your story as well, and I go back to comparing you to Eugene Behrman again, because you guys are kind of, you're unassuming because you're very well spoken, you're quiet guys, but yet
mm,
both of you are absolute beasts. You train some
mm,
amazing fighters, you've had great careers, and I think even, which is surprising, still now people don't realize that it's not all monsters and guys with the mohawks who have been in,
yeah,
like, it's just people that want to challenge themselves both physically
yeah,
and mentally as well. And I think, like I've said it a million times, you got to look deeper into things like this, and not
yeah.
always kind of look at it like
It's
why
not
you.
barbaric.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's not. It's far from that. Like, and I see it. Like I said,
yeah,
even for me, when doing the Winter Warrior, it opens your eyes even that much more when you see how different everybody is. Like
yeah,
one of the guys, I remember halfway through the camp, I had been struggling, like my shoulders and neck, it was killing me. And then like it started playing on my mind, like I'm not going to be fit for this fight. Like, should I really be doing it? And one of the guys, I could probably name him, Charlie. He's a big heavyweight, an absolute gent.
mm,
His mother passed away throughout, in between the camp. She'd been very sick,
yeah,
and none of us actually knew, but he told us the story anyway. And he came in and he told us, listen, he's going to go through with the fight. And like I was looking, saying, how the fuck can I pull out, because I'm sore if this guy's after losing his mother and he's going to continue to do
yeah,
it. It's just
yeah,
that kind of,
yeah,
the kind of stories you hear, like you were just telling about your story as well, and the fear you had, whereas people probably look
yeah,
at you and never think you had any fear. It's just
yeah.
it's amazing stories to come out
Everybody
of.
has fear.
Yeah.
Fear is a good thing, but not letting it overcome you is like, with fear, what I've learned now, and this is how I pass on to my students, like, is basically when you watch a fight, say if I get you a fight, an opponent, I say to you, watch that fight. Okay, watch him fight, a couple of his fights. Now, when you feel that the butterflies in your stomach, when you feel the fear, what is it telling you? Because your fear will tell you what his strengths are.
Hmm.
And then if you can see what his strengths are, you can see where his weaknesses are.
Hmm.
And then you can build a fight plan of how to avoid his strengths and take advantage of his weaknesses.
Yeah.
And then every day in training, you're getting more confident because you're getting better at doing that.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer now. I'm giving away a lot of um, secret Shaolin esoteric knowledge. But
Hey, thankfully the podcast is not
basically,
that big yet.
yeah. But basically, you shouldn't fight to what you think is your strengths. You should fight to your opponent's weaknesses. If you fight to just what you think is your strengths, is your ego. I,
Yeah.
like, as I say, I used to fight people to take people's heads off. Thinking that was fighting, kill or be killed.
Yeah.
And but and I had to reprogram myself to undo that conditioning where fighting is survival. You know
Yeah.
how being able to thrive in a life and death experience, scenario.
Yeah.
And that is a big thing. Don't fight to your strengths, fight to their weaknesses,
Yeah.
because it's like a striker versus striker. Look at Poirier versus McGregor, for example.
Yeah.
Poirier came out looking like he was going to strike in the first round, and then he timed the takedown against
Mhm.
Conor. Conor did really good to get back up, but nonetheless he made Conor work.
Yeah.
You know, and we all know Conor's very dangerous in the first round. That's where most of his knockouts come, in the first round. So that is the blueprint to beat Conor, is to make him tired, take away a bit of his athleticism, his power, and then the leg kicks,
Yeah.
which take away his movement. Conor's very good at in and out. So, you know, like we all know Poirier's having all these fight of the night wars with Gaethje and all these guys, you know, but he didn't fight to his strengths in that fight. He fought to Conor's weaknesses,
Yeah.
you know, and that is what the best fighters do. You know, they're able to adapt. They're not
Yeah.
just a one trick pony. You understand? So that's
Yeah. And in the build up to that fight, I had usually what I'll do is I watch the fights on a Sunday, and immediately
yeah,
after I'll do a short podcast and talk about it. And in the build
yeah,
up, I was trying to stay quiet. You know, there's so much to talk about, so I was trying to stay quiet in the week building up.
yeah.
But every time I was going online, and this is the danger of going online, but so many people were like, Dustin Poirier was like, this guy, he had no right to be in the ring with Conor. And like, you know, I saw one comment, and this is I said it on my previous podcast. Like, there's one comment that said, "This is a total setup. Poirier doesn't belong in the cage with McGregor." And as soon as I saw that, I said, I have to get on the page and say something. And like I just remember finishing the video with, "Do not let the comments fool you." I said, "Poirier is a bad motherfucker," because I
yeah,
couldn't stand seeing these comments, and it's the McGregor thing, you know, like
yeah.
it's fallen into this.
But hey, man, big up to McGregor, like, because you know that man. I hope he stays this new positive McGregor, because, like what you were saying about people's view on MMA, thinking it's barbaric, and really, like, we've been living in negative culture. Never mind McGregor, like we've been living. Look at music culture, news
Yeah,
culture, bad news. Everything bad is good. It's like a mirror universe,
yeah, yeah,
you know. So being bad is popular culture. And what it will take, I've said this to all of our students, what it will take is somebody at the top to change negative culture to positive culture.
yeah,
And with McGregor, like I think McGregor was looked good in that fight. It was just Poirier fought to a very smart game plan and broke him down and won.
yeah,
And like, but McGregor was so truthful and honest, and I give him so much respect after that fight. And he like he can change the polarity of this culture, as I say, because he's such a big inspiration to so many people.
yeah.
You know, and I wasn't his biggest fan
I
throughout his
know.
negative,
Me, and
stage.
me and you have
I
had a conversation about this.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. And
uh,
I always respected his skill level, and I always like, like I trained with him, and I was meant to fight him a couple of times, and like amazing fighter,
yeah,
amazing martial artist, and like we've all been down the wrong paths and stuff like that. But like I just love seeing that he's changed. He can help a lot of people now by
yeah,
showing that, look, I've fecked up, man.
yeah,
But we
yeah.
can change. That's actually a more powerful message. And
It's
that's what
true.
I've done in my life. Thankfully I never had the heights that he had whenever I fell off you know, fell from the heights, because there's so many more eyes on you, and people like that. When you lose a fight, people think, oh, McGregor's done. No, he's not done, man.
Yeah,
If you can learn from your mistakes, then you can reinvent yourself.
yeah.
So I'm props to McGregor, man.
No, I
Big
agree.
up the mystic, man.
Yeah, and I was like, I was a big fan of I was a fan of the early McGregor. I just loved that.
Yeah,
But then, and I'd said this to a mate of mine, like the Khabib thing, I didn't like. It was so uncomfortable throughout the whole lot of it. It just, you've got for a lot of McGregor stuff. What made him so funny was it was that Irish banter, that Irish kind of, that slagging,
yeah,
and that's why people loved it, and it was fun. But
yeah,
then with the Khabib fight, it was hatred, and it was too
yeah,
much. Even the things he
yeah,
was saying, and I said even again to a friend of mine, which was a sure sign, was McGregor is a smart businessman, and you know that
yeah,
if you get in the cage and you swear on the mic or something like that, they have to bleep it out. So it's not good because the
yeah,
papers can't print that. It's not good for media. And throughout the whole of that Khabib build up, he was swearing constantly, and he's in
yeah,
some kind of things you can't print or you can't put in the media.
yeah.
So
It
that's why,
damages, like it. We have. This is why we have to be conscious about, like, what we say and do, because it becomes popular culture and other people will follow in your footsteps,
Yeah.
and then it leads them down the wrong path. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
we need more of your your GSPs in the sport.
yeah,
It's nice to have the different characters. I agree. You don't want everybody to be the same, but
yeah.
at the
But we
same,
need more of these McGregors, as I say, because like thankfully he's showed change,
yeah,
and like that's what's gonna change. Like he has such a big network of people, a following. So like, and I think he's gonna come back if he gets the right matchup as well. He's not like lost anything he has. He has the knowledge. He is amazing. He's an amazing fighter, and there's fights in that top 10 that he can win. And yeah, like I still think there's a lot of hard guys in there, like, but
yeah.
the man is amazing fighter. Like, there's no doubt in his ability. Like, even when he was in his negative state phase, like, he's an unbelievable fighter.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
I
And
feel,
I had said, obviously, I'm out here talking like there's a lot of the city kickboxing fans out here, the Kiwis, and they all think I'm diehard McGregor, which I am a McGregor fan, but I'm as open
yeah,
a
man.
fan as can be. And
Yeah,
to be honest, after that loss, I was more happy with him being back than I was before it because I thought he
yeah,
performed brilliantly. Just you lose to a game plan. And look, Mike
yeah,
Brown and Dustin Poirier's team, they're excellent.
yeah,
Like they're not,
yeah,
if you watch the sport enough, you know how good Mike Brown is
yeah,
at setting out
yeah.
plans.
ATT, man, American top team. They're probably now the top team in the world, I'd say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And you can't really fault McGregor too much. Just even
yeah,
even to like the new thing is as well. It's not as easy to check a calf kick, which
yeah,
people forget. People say, why wasn't he checking the kicks? But if you get the right angle on a calf kick, you actually cannot check it.
yeah. And it only takes like two with a normal Muay Thai leg kick to the thigh. You can take a few of them. They're
Yeah,
hurt, like, but you can take a few. But with the calf is a smaller muscle,
yeah,
and especially the outside muscles is the ones you use more than the inside for
yeah.
your movement. So like you eat two leg calf kicks, so like
It switches
goodbye.
off. Yeah.
Bring on the crutches.
Yeah, it is. It's hot, and you could see it as soon as McGregor's got a good poker face, but you could see it. When that
Yeah,
when that switch went, it was his movement was dead. It was everything. But look, I like Dustin
yeah,
Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier is a great guys like him and Max Holloway. I want to see them at the top of the sport. I think it's what
yeah, yeah, man.
they're great people. It's what kids need to be looking up to when they see the sport. The fun characters,
Yeah, man.
they're doing good things with the money they make and all that.
Yeah.
I had a list of questions here for you, and you've pretty much just gone through this most of them without me even asking. But there was one thing I wanted to ask you about was obviously your wife Indra is a fighter too, and
Yeah,
I
man.
wanted to ask you about the news of Paige Van Zandt going to bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask your thoughts on that. What do you think of it?
Well, to be honest with you, man, like Paige is a warrior. Like she's like I know she gives off like the kind of pretty bimbo, bit airy, like,
Slightly,
But but she is like even I was kind of worried about her going into BKFC because of the way she fought in UFC. She was just like getting mangled up, just having
yeah,
clinch uppercut wars and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Like so I was a bit like, oh, like bare knuckle is a different thing now, man. And but she improved, man. When I looked at how her distance management
yeah,
in the bare knuckle thing, because you can't take, that's why you ever watch the Irish bare knuckle fights
yeah.
and there's barely a punch thrown in like an hour fight.
That's the big
Because they
field.
know like yeah, they know like getting cut and breaking a knuckle, like, but she was just managing the distance good.
Yeah,
And yeah, like just parrying shots and then throwing single shots more than big combinations and stuff like that. And yeah, no, I think she did good. She was looking stronger towards the end, and I think that if I like to see her go back into MMA. I think that is a missing part of her MMA game is her just control of distance in the
yeah.
range.
Yeah,
She
I
looked better at just.
I thought the same. Like I was to be, if I'm honest, when I heard she was going there, not because I don't like I'll watch bare knuckle, I'll watch any of the fights, but I thought
Yeah,
Paige as an actual well-rounded fighter is better than taking some of her skills away. Like you got to remember, she knocked out
yeah,
Beth Rawlings with a switch kick. You know,
yeah,
I believe it was one of the knockouts of the year. Like so, she's gotten a lot of flack this since the loss. Like, but I think people kind of need to go easy. That's why I was asking you. I was wondering what your thoughts were on it because, like,
yeah.
also apparently she's getting paid big money compared to the UFC as well.
Oh
So,
yeah. I
you
think BKFC are paying good money or something like because a lot of guys go over there.
yeah, you got the crippler Chris Leven retired there as well. So yeah, there's a couple of
Yeah.
going there. So in terms of the future, any big announcements other than your return to the gym for Shaolin MMA? I suppose it's hard for you to say
Um.
the time.
Yeah. So I want to give a big shout out to the Shaolin fighters that are fighting on Clan Wars. Clan Wars 40.
Hmm.
Clan Wars are having two events: Clan Wars 39 and Clan Wars 40, which is taking place on March 20th and March 21st.
Hmm.
And we have on Clan Wars 40, it's a mainly pro event with pro fighters. We have my wife Indra Davis, who's fighting Dee Begley in the women's professional flyweight division. It's my wife's pro debut, so she's working hard for that.
Yeah,
And Dee Begley's a very good, lovely girl as well. She's a very experienced kickboxer, and she's had a lot of amateur MMA experience and two pro fights, I think. And so it's going to be a good fight for Indra, a good test. We have Andreas Binder, Mr. Judoka,
yeah,
and everybody's a well, you know, well-known Shaolin fighter. He's won
yeah,
probably
absolutely.
every title there is to win in the amateur level. And so yeah, Andreas is fighting um, Zembella. I can't remember his first name now. In the welterweight division, another professional bout. And then we have Ian Coughlin, who's just started training with us as well. And Ian Coughlin's another good grappler. He's a black belt in BJJ, black belt in judo. He's fighting Janderson Castro, a Brazilian K1 style fighter. And that's another professional fight. And our BJJ coach, Michelle Da Silva,
Yeah, so I saw
beast
him.
man.
He's training with Aaron Burke around the clock. I've
Yeah,
noticed. Yeah, two
yeah,
absolute beasts.
yeah, yeah. And Michelle's fighting against Aaron Daniels from SBG Ireland in the featherweight division. Another professional fight. It'll be Michelle's second pro fight. He's 1-0. Aaron Daniels is making his pro debut. Aaron Daniels is again a bit like very similar to Dee Begley, male version.
Hmm.
Um, Comes from a karate kind of kickboxing points fighting system, but very stocky guy as well, similar kind of build to Michelle.
Yeah,
And so yeah, them guys are going at it. And then we have Carl McConway, who's maybe his last amateur fight. We don't know yet. We have to look at the current climate to see what fights are
yeah.
out there for him. And so he's defending his bantamweight Clan Wars belt against a guy who he fought on very short notice for the super bantamweight title. Maxim, can't remember his surname. So yeah, they fought for the super bantamweight title. Carl lost the decision to him in that one, so now they're fighting for Carl's bantamweight title.
Okay.
And yeah, going to be a very good fight. And we also have, it's not been announced yet, but I'm going to announce it anyway, is Creven Scrivens, another one of our welterweight fighters. He's going to be fighting, what's the lad's name now? I can't remember.
You've
But
done
yeah,
well so far.
Creven Scrivens is fighting as well. And yeah, all of them lads, they're more experienced fighters, as I say. So it's
Yeah,
kind of hard at the moment trying to get our other lads fights. Clan Wars weren't really doing any debut or one or two fight kind of fighters.
yeah,
So yeah, so I don't know, big respect to them. They're all putting in hard work, and if anybody that's watching the podcast wants to buy their pay-per-view link, go on their Instagram bios and just get the link from there. It'll help support them as fighters because they're not really making any money, so they make a percentage of the pay-per-view. So if you want to support local fighters, they're gonna give you a hell of a show. I guarantee it now. You know, all top level fighters. These people are gonna be in the big promotions soon. You know, the likes of the UFC, Bellator, One Championship, Brave, all the big shows. These guys and women, you know, catch
Yeah,
them
well,
now.
any of those links, feel free to share them. The page on my
Yeah,
personal page, Ben, or on the with the podcast, the Go Grab That Day page, and I'll
yeah,
share the links everywhere because I've seen some of your boys fight and girls, and
yeah,
I've yet to not be entertained. So there's a,
yeah,
you're doing a lot of big things with your club. One more question
yeah,
before I let you go. How about you?
yeah.
Have you anything coming up?
Yes, man. I want to fight, to be honest with you, but as you say, this current world is really hard to get
Yeah,
fights, and I'm, like I'm not planning on retiring. No way. Like I planned to have 3 fights last year, and then the
yeah.
lockdown happened. I couldn't get any fights. I was offered a fight like in November when I had just been sick of dieting for the whole year. And I had to gain some weight again, like.
Yeah,
And but yeah, so I had it in my head for March, but again, I have nothing. So I've been offered nothing, and I want to fight the best. I don't want to be fighting. I don't want to fight Irish fighters for one, because I want to support Irish fighters.
hmm,
I want these guys to get up and get all the respect that they need. I don't want them fighting myself. Like, it's
yeah,
like there's nothing to gain for me, or well, there is something to gain for them because I'm experienced and stuff, but it's like I want to fight the best in the world. I want to, so anyone out there, like international fights,
yeah.
big promotions, Cage Warriors, I'll go to them. you
Cool.
know I've been messaging a matchmaker for Extreme Fighting Championships in Africa, because I'd love to go to South Africa.
Yeah,
I want to go. I love traveling, seeing the world. As you say, you want to go out traveling. I want to
yeah,
travel. I want to fight really good guys. If I have to get my ass kicked and learn, I ain't planning on retiring. As I say,
man.
every day I reinvent myself. Every day I die when I go to sleep, and then I wake up and
My man,
I start over.
that's brilliant.
So
I love to hear that, man. Listen, I'd have you on for 3 hours if I could, but I don't want to take up too much of your time because I swore I
no
wouldn't.
problem, bro.
But listen, I can't say enough how good it's been to have you on, and I'll definitely be wrecking
Yeah,
your head in the future to get you on again. So you might regret this,
cool.
but hopefully not. Listen,
Yeah,
I wish you and all the guys the best of luck with the next few months of getting back up. And when I get back there, cannot wait to walk through the doors of the new gym and see all of you, and hopefully you're all
yeah, man.
fit and healthy and bringing more titles to the
Yeah,
club.
yeah, man. Definitely.
I appreciate it, Ben. Best of luck with everything. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming on.
Peace and love, brother.
Take care, brother. Take care.
Yeah, man.
And so, yeah, that was Mr. Ben Davis. As I said, head coach of Shout in MMA. I thoroughly enjoyed having that conversation with him. And definitely hope to try and bug him enough so he might come on again. But as he said in the podcast, he's a lot of guys with big fights coming up, including his own wife who's making her pro debut, Indra Davis. So check them all out. They're a really good team back there. Ben is a really, really humble guy, a very good guy, and he's trying to, he's doing his best to try and keep the gym open to help keep kids off the street and stuff like that. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. So yeah, go grab that day, guys. Take care.